Hi, welcome everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us today for the Meet the Camp Director session with Harley and Jeremy from Camp Timberlane, an awesome camp in Canada, in the Toronto area. I believe it's like 3 hours north of Toronto. Well, Harley will explain it to you. My name is Maud. I'm the director of CCUSA Netherlands and also the EU office. So I also work with many other EU countries. And today I'll be hosting the Meet the Camp Director session with Camp Timberlane. And yeah, let me introduce you to the Camp Director. Harley, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, Maud. Thank you very much. And hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Harley. As been stated, I am the director here at Timberlane. Also joining me on the Zoom today is Jeremy. And Jeremy is one of our senior staff and our head of waterfront, who was originally hired out of the UK 11 long years ago. And he's still an integral part of our Timberlane team. Jeremy, are you there? Can you say hello?
I am, yes. Hello, everyone. Hello, Maud. Hello, Harley. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to answer a lot of the questions that you may have, especially from me being where you were 10 years ago, 11 years ago, to give my insights into what you can experience at Timberlane or any other camp you may be at this summer.
To follow up on our location, we're around 2.5 hours or so, close to 3 hours northeast of Toronto. So many of you probably picture Toronto and this huge, beautiful metropolitan city, which it is. But a few hours away, there's the most beautiful, what we term as cottage country, but an area with vast lakes, beautiful forestry, amazing agriculture, and in a pocket called the Haliburton Highlands, that's where Timberlane lives. And we are located on our own private lake. So we have all the property around it. We own all the land around it, which means we have incredible trails, tree houses, and overnight experiences all around our lake. And while you're at Timberlane, whether you're joining us from somewhere in Europe or somewhere from all over the world, you're part of a very inclusive community that's just the Timberlane community. There's no other.
I'll bring it out here.
No other camps. We're in a very unique spot where we get to all be together, typically around 500 campers and 200 staff. And we do that in this incredible environment on our lake with no other interference from the outside world. So it's a bit of a utopia when you're out there, and it creates a lot of incredible, magical experiences. So looking forward to answering all your questions and getting to know some of you, and hopefully you'll be interested in having an interview and finding out more.
All right. Thank you, Harley and Jeremy, for your introduction and telling us a little bit about the camp already. The purpose of this meeting today is to give you information about the camp. Harley and Jeremy will tell you everything about it. And well, what's even better is that next week on November 27, and that's already November 28 in the early morning if you're from Australia or New Zealand. But then we have a virtual camp fair, so then you can get an interview with Harley and Jeremy in order to get hired at Camp Timberlane, hopefully. And also the week after, so on Monday, December 4, and that's December 5 in Australia, New Zealand then. So if after this Zoom session, you're interested in a job at Camp Timberlane, then contact your local CCUSA office and we'll put you on the list for an interview. All right, so we're going to start with a video, a short 1-minute video, so you can get a first impression of Camp Timberlane. And then after the video, I will ask Harley and Jeremy some questions about camp. And then in the end, you can ask questions as well. So if you think of any questions, write them down, remember them, and please hold them until the end of the meeting. And then in the end, you can ask all your questions. All right, let's start with the video. Here we go.
We're moving so fast, we never look back. Got no
right.
Thank you, Matt.
Oh, sorry. Just a second. Okay.
While you're turning that, I'll just note that that video and many others are available on our website. So if you want to watch that again, if it was a little bit choppy, or if you want to just view other videos from previous summers, our website and our Instagram showcase a lot of what we call a typical day at Timberlane. And I hate to say it because it sounds like a dream, but every day at Timberlane is sort of like that video. So you'll see if you could scroll through, you'll be able to get a view and check out our daily shows.
Yeah, it's an amazing video. I am actually, I think I want to sign up myself for the Zoom virtual fair. It looks awesome. Great video, and yeah. If people want to see it again, because it goes by really fast, they can find it on YouTube and more videos of Timberlane. Great, Harley. What is your favorite aspect of Camp Timberlane?
It's a good question. I think what makes Timberlane are the people. I mean, we're entering our 66th summer, and we have, I think last summer there was 13 countries represented, most of which are on our staff. And I could talk to you about how beautiful our lake is and our beautiful scenery. And there's so many things, our activities, I could list them, but it's the people to me that makes Timberlane what it is. The smiling faces you see every day, the kids with their endless energy, the staff with so many dynamic personalities from all over the world. It really is what makes Timberlane that really unique, special place. So for me, it would be the people. I'm curious to know, Jeremy, what would be your answer to that one?
Yeah, of course. Well, being head of waterfront, having our private lake to ourselves is definitely a highlight. With no other cottages around, it is our lake for 2 months. But I have to agree that it's the community feel at Timberlane that makes it so special for me. Just walking down the main path from the mess hall back to a cabin and getting stopped by campers, not necessarily your campers, it might be other campers, older or younger, that know you from the activities you may help with, and they just want to get to know you. They want to say hi. They want to ask about you and learn about you and all the rest of it. It's that community feel for me.
Thank you. That's very nice. Wait, please mute if everyone can mute their. So someone is not muted. Okay, I'll. All right. Do you have like many children at camp who like really grow up at Timberlane, who come back every summer from they're like 6 years old until 12 or even 16?
Yeah, for sure. And I guess when you get as old as I am, you see a lot of people start at 6 or 7 and work their way up till they're in their late teens and become staff. And, even with a lot of our international staff, a lot of them come to Timberlane for the first time, 19, 20 years old. I believe Jeremy was 18 when he first joined us. And we see a lot of staff that come as young adults, finishing up university, and they end up returning summer after summer. And, we watch them become, these incredible leaders, and whether they're getting into, the education world or the business world, the medical field, law, that, what they learn from at camp and the tools they gain from camp, they take with them everywhere. But you'll see if you join us, the kids that come back, many of them have been at Timberlane for many, many summers. I mean, they're at home right now with their calendars counting down the days until they can get back up there at the end of June.
Exactly. Oh, that is awesome. That says a lot about the camp. And it's also a nice bridge to my next question, because you were saying about, how it turns young people who work at camp into leaders. My next question is, what do you think participants will come away with after, a summer at Timberlane with you?
That's a good question. I mean, hopefully a lot, but hopefully there's endless memories, and there's, new skills they gain. I think the number one thing, if you're coming and you're thinking, do I do this? What am I going to gain? I think it's lifelong friendship. I think that you're sitting somewhere right now in the Netherlands or in the UK or Australia or France, and you're going to make friends from all over the world. And the people that you share the summer with, these camp friends of yours, they're not just 2-month friends. They really do become lifelong companions and people that you will hang out with and meet up with and travel with. And I think leaving an incredible place like Timberlane with new like-minded friendships is integral to the experience.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anything else, Jeremy? Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, of course, memories you're going to create those at camp and they'll stay with you for a very long time. And the friendships, of course, you're all at camp for the same reasons to experience the best summer for yourself and give the best summer to your campers. And maybe to experience new cultures, countries being in Canada that may be new to you. And also within the campers, lots of campers and the staff from around the world getting that whole cultural experience. But there's more than just memories and friendships that you take away from the summer job. There's so many invaluable skills that will develop you as a person, even just from being part of a cabin. You'll gain skills in empathy, problem solving, social skills. When I first came to Timberlane, I was this reserved little 19-year-old from York. My self-confidence wasn't high, but from the countless sailing periods that I led to performing now in leading roles in the staff musicals in front of the whole camp, being at Timberlane has given me incredible opportunities to develop these skills, these leadership skills, public speaking, creativity, and confidence.
Wow. Yeah, so it's really personal growth as well. Yeah, what you're saying, you're growing in so many different ways, independence, maturity, leadership, all those kind of things as well. Plus, like Harley said, all the friendships you make that last a lifetime. Awesome. Thank you, Jeremy. And well, it sounds amazing, and it's like, yeah, well, we've seen the video. It looks like a little paradise. But it is a job, of course. It's I can imagine it's hard work. It's not easy. What do you look for in prospective staff members, Harley?
For sure, great question. And no matter where we go and where we hire from, because all over the world, whether they're in person or over Zoom, the number one thing I'll always say is it's personality driven. This is a personality driven position. Your resume, your references, your academic background, though important, aren't or isn't what will get you a job at Timberlane. We need to meet with fun, kind, exciting, dynamic people that want to work with kids, that love the outdoors, that are willing to go inside their comfort zone. I mean, Jeremy just sort of opened up and talked a little bit about his journey, but he really has transformed over a decade into one of our senior managers for a reason, because he was someone that was willing to go outside their comfort zone and try new things. He sells himself a little bit short, because you should hear him when he's leading one of our musicals or when he's on the stage at Timberlane. We have a huge production program. The arts are very big at Timberlane. We have a huge staff play, and I think Jeremy has checked the boxes on every role that you could possibly have, from leading Phantom of the Opera to Gaston to Les Mis, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But that's what we want. We want people that will come and try new things, be themselves, and obviously look to just make the campers have the best time possible. But you're not going to do that with arithmetic, and you're not going to do that with things that you've learned necessarily in the classroom. You're going to do that with your personality and your kindness. And if you can check those boxes and you're willing to learn elsewhere, you tend to have a lot of success at Timberlane.
Okay, great. That's I think that's very interesting for everyone here to realize that yeah, we're not necessarily looking at school diplomas. And what about skills in the field of activities? Like, I understand, of course, it's personality driven, so that's most important. That's what you really look for in counselors. But I can imagine you also need people for different areas. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, I mean, the personality aspect sort of applies to everyone, but then there is specialized skills that are needed for certain activities. In the example of Jeremy, again, he was hired as a sales staff. We have a huge sail program with an incredible fleet of boats. So perhaps somebody here on the Zoom has a sailing background and has a lot of experience as a participant or as an instructor. So stuff like sailing, paddling, kayaking, canoeing, ropes. We're always looking for people in high ropes, people with rock climbing experience. Certainly arts and crafts and pottery, individuals that have a passion for arts, be culinary arts, could be sewing or textiles. We have a lot of athletes that join us. There's a huge land sports program. So certainly that's always a skill that we need. I will say that a lot of our land sports staff, not always, but many of our land sports staff are typically staff that return year after year. We have a lot of continuity, so we don't look necessarily internationally for some of those athletes that we do locally. Although a sport like footy, we want to find the right person that often comes from someone abroad, not to discredit the Canadian football program too much. But sometimes the best talent is from overseas. We're always looking for a lot of different water-based skills. Anyone that has credentials on the water, we have a huge lake and waterfront program, and we want, on top of a personality, we want mature and responsible individuals that we can feel comfortable patrolling our waterfronts. Skateboarding, ATVing. I mean, we have a whole list that really, if you want the full list, you see on our website. I always tell our staff, you want to come to a Zoom, or prospective staff or anyone, you want to come to a Zoom with your tool bag of tricks. So you want to bring your personality. That's what's going to sell you as an individual. But then you want to go into your tool bag and showcase that you have, a passion for arts and maybe some of your arts background. And then you want to go in there and talk about your experience as maybe a skateboarder, and perhaps you have some experience doing pottery. On the other hand, maybe you're someone that used to do kayaking trips and has an interest in sailing and used to sail with your family. And perhaps you have waterfront credentials, maybe you're a lifeguard. So bring your whole tool bag. You want to differentiate yourself, showcase yourself. I mean, ultimately you're selling yourself, because I don't even know how many are on this Zoom right now. It sort of looks like,
40 something, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's close to 50 people. I mean, we certainly don't have 50 roles available. So if you are interested in joining us, on top of selling your personality and selling yourself as an individual, you want to slide into a certain skill. And we'll have a great Zoom. We'll talk about areas that interest you. We'll talk about your background, and don't sell yourself short. Make yourself stand out amongst the 48 or so people that are here.
All right, thank you. And so that's the beauty of Timberlane, that the activities go in all directions. So you need people who are good at sports, but you also have a big creative program, arts and crafts, pottery, ceramics, all that kind of stuff. And then, the water sports. I hear there's a performing arts program with musicals and stuff like that. And also music. Is that also a big thing at your camp?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're a camp that almost every facet of Timberlane involves music in some capacity. It's hard to go a day without a reason for a song or a reason for someone that has a musical background. I would say where we're lacking, to be fully transparent, is we don't have a program that teaches the kids the fundamental of music, more so because of space. A lot of our indoor facilities are used for a drama theater, or used for fitness and yoga, or used for arts and crafts. So we just don't have the right space to have a platform to teach music as much as we'd love to. But, bringing a guitar by a campfire, or bringing a flute or a violin, or playing the keyboard. I mean, these are parts of everyday aspects of camp. And we have we call it our Friday night chapel choir, that when we get together and we have reflective sessions, when we talk about, friendship or making the most of the summer, we all come together Friday night. It always breaks out in song, and there's people that are part of that choir. And it's typically, to be honest, international staff that have a background from school or a background from their childhood growing up in music. So, if you say the word music in Timberlane, it's synonymous with one another. A lot of dance parties, a lot of music around camp. You likely won't go to the beaches or the play areas without there being music or someone playing music. So right. Huge part of Timberlane. So that's part of that tool bag that we talk about, Maud, is that we want them to talk about that with us, because we don't know here who is a talented musician or who is the next person to get on stage and tear the house down with, guitar solo. But I would presume on the Zoom of around 50 individuals, there's probably some very talented musicians and artists.
Yeah, and thank you. And yeah, music was just an example, but all in all, you have like all kinds of activities in all fields. So that's really nice. My last question before we go on to the questions from the people on the Zoom call. Um, well, what do you think is the hardest aspect of working at camp? Is this a job for everyone?
That's a great question, and I'll give you my answer. I'm curious to hear what Jeremy says as well, as someone who still is one of our key staff members. I would say that no, it's not a job for everyone, because maybe when I was talking about the personality aspect of this position, I might have lost a few people there, and I get that because some people, maybe don't love working with kids all summer. Some people maybe don't love the outdoors or aren't comfortable going outside their comfort zone. But I would say probably something that you really need to work in our setting is patience. And I think a lot of people, a lot of young people, especially today, sometimes lack patience. And Timberlane is a very, very inclusive environment. And I think 90% of the time, that's amazing. Jeremy gave the anecdote of walking down the path and just going from point A to point B and getting stopped by kids who want to talk and ask questions, or getting stopped by staff and entering a conversation. 90% of the time, that's amazing, right? Everyone wants to be engaged and be social, but you might be having an off day, or you might not be feeling your best, or you might be exhausted from your kids. You can't let your guard down. You can't lose your patience. You still have to give those kids your attention. You still have to show the staff and your peers and your colleagues that you're available all the time. Camp is short, not including our staff training. It's around 56 days. We don't want to waste a day. We don't even want to waste an hour. So even if you're not feeling that you're at your best, even if your campers or the kids are driving you nuts, and I promise you, sometimes they will, you have to keep that patience and keep your composure. And if you're someone where that's not your strength and you struggle with that, that doesn't preclude you from getting hired. But I think that would be a challenge for you. You asked what's one of the hardest parts. I think for me, that would be what I identify as a tough part of the job. And Jeremy, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Another point could be this is a new experience for you. You may have worked with children before in a different setting. You may not have lived with a cabin of them 24 hours a day for 2 months. This is going to be a new experience for you. You may not have the skills before the start of camp to how to deal with certain situations. It's having the resilience to last and to learn and to ask for help if you need it. You may not have been to Canada before. You may not have been abroad before. You're suddenly in this new country, surrounded in this environment that is new to you. And yes, having that resilience to learn and progress and learn from everything around you. That can be challenging for people. So I agree with Harley, it's not for everyone. If you think that you will thrive in this area outside of your comfort zone, then this is definitely a place that could be for you.
That's a great answer. And
Yeah.
the last thing I'll say before we open the floor to questions is, the irony of a place like Timberlane and overnight camp in general is you'll be at your best in terms of how to care for children in the camp setting and how to do your job at camp and how it all works. Unfortunately, you'll be at your best when camp's over, because that first year is sort of like a 2 months of training. And right now you're probably here, and then we have a week pre-camp training before the summer. We can get you to here before the kids come. And very likely that first week of camp, you'll go from here to here. Like the training we can give you can set you up so much, but until those kids arrive and you're living with co-staff and you're working with the kids and you're dealing with their ups and their downs and you're part of it, that really is the training. So where you are on even the third week of camp is so different than where you'll be on the first week. And ultimately where you'll be at the end of the summer, you'll be a completely different individual. But the good news is even if those skills that you gained aren't going to be useful for Timberlane 2024 anymore, they're useful for Timberlane 2025 or 2026. or they're useful for your university, or they're useful for your next job back home, or they're useful for your future career. I think Jeremy did a great job before sort of talking about some of those different skills you'll gain. So, you know, what Jeremy said is really true. And it's very tough to come to our setting in year one and figure it all out before the kids arrive. And the secret is you won't. You won't figure it all out before the kids arrive. But as the summer goes on, the job becomes a lot easier and more fun. But that's why we have stuff like the staff musical. That's why you get a day off every week. That's why every night there's a staff snack for just the staff. That's why we have staff socials, staff sport leagues, staff recs. There's a lot of fun time just for the staff, because after a full day of having fun with your kids and working with your kids, you'll need adult time, and you'll want to unplug a little bit from just being a staff and just be yourself with around 200 like-minded individuals that you can just connect with and have fun with. So I'm sure everyone else has questions. I don't want to take up any more time. Hopefully you've gotten a lot of value from this information session. If you have a question, I mean, I guess Maud will be the one to key this off, because you might have more to add. I feel like I just started narrating. It's you might not get ready for questions, but I will say is, if you have a question for Jeremy directly, feel free to ask him, because he was in your shoes a decade ago. Certainly, we're happy to answer anything, and there's no such thing as a dumb question, because I guarantee whatever you're thinking, somebody else right now on this Zoom probably has a parallel thought in their dome.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you explained it really well, Harley. Thank you so much. Very clear, and yeah, what you said, like it's a whole learning period, the whole time at camp, but yeah, people can only grow in that time and become better, like you said, either for the next summer at Timberlane, or in daily life, university. So yeah, great, and good to hear about all the nice things that you do for staff, to recharge their batteries after working with kids all day. So that's really nice to hear. Before we move on to the questions, so I want to tell you a little bit more about the virtual fair, so the online job interviews you can have with Camp Timberlane. As mentioned before, they will take place on November 27 and December 4th. Before you can get an interview, you will have to complete your CCUSA application. It's okay if one of your references is still missing, or you don't have the video yet, but try to complete the rest of your application so that we have that. And log in at the website of your local CCUSA office, start or complete your application for Camp Counselors Canada, and then let us know that you want an interview with Camp Timberlane, and then we can put you on the schedule. Yeah, spaces are limited, so it's first come, first serve. So if you already know that you want to do this, send us an email after the meeting or tomorrow, so that we know that you're interested in doing a virtual interview. And in the event that you don't get a job at Timberlane, don't stress out, no panic. We work with lots and lots of camps all over Canada, so that if you don't end up at Timberlane, we have plenty of other options for you. So don't worry about that.
Can I add something quickly? Sorry, because it was.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's a good point that you said that, because there are so many great camps. I like to think we're somewhere at the top, but I'm sure other directors and other camps will have different sentiments. We only have so many positions available, and what we often find too is that candidates want the same position. So there might be 3 or 4 people going for the same job. Again, that goes back to the skills and the interests that you have. If you don't get a position at Timberlane, don't give up, don't throw in the towel. The experience you'll get at Timberlane is incredible, but the experience you'll get at all the other camps is also incredible. So we look forward to meeting with so many of you, but it's unlikely we'll be able to hire all of you. So just keep that in mind, and don't lose faith in the process, or don't lose confidence, because we have specific needs we're looking to fill, and it can't be with everyone.